Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and on this video this morning I am going to give you my match reaction for the Liverpool Athletico Madrid game that ended Liverpool 2, Athletico Madrid 3 yesterday night at Anfield in the last 16 of the Champions League second leg. So Atletico Madrid do win 3-2 on the night, and they do go through 4-2 on aggregate over the course of the two legs. So Diego Simeone's men do progress to the last day of the competition, and Liverpool's reign as Champions League holders is officially over, and it is Liverpool's first defeat at Anfield in the Champions League under Jurgen Klopp. Now, Liverpool, will definitely, feel hard done by, because my own perception on that game yesterday night is I thought Liverpool totally dominated that game, especially in normal time. Liverpool totally dominated that game. Now, I thought Liverpool's performance yesterday night was totally comparison to the first leg, at Atletico Madrid's ground, because the first leg, like I mentioned on the preview, was very, very poor. It lacked quality, and in the first leg, Liverpool didn't even register one single shot on target in the first leg. But Atletico Madrid's goal in the first leg was very fortuitous. Of course, it did come from Son Gies from a mistake from Fabinho. So Liverpool knew, of course, that they had a one-goal deficit to overcome. So in the game, I thought, like I mentioned, Liverpool totally controlled it. Liverpool just basically lacked that clinical element. I think I read some of the stats, and Liverpool had a total of 34 shots yesterday against Atletico Madrid. They created around 28 chances, but they did really, really well. I thought Oxlade-Chamberlain had a really, really good game for Liverpool yesterday. He created some good chances, did Oxlade-Chamberlain. Also, too, he got the assist for Georginio Wijnaldum's first goal. So he had a really, really good game. I thought Trent Alexander-Arnold, he had a really, really good game yet again. Threaded a lot of good crosses into the box. Also, he created a lot of good chances, did Trent Alexander-Arnold. Very, very good player is Trent Alexander-Arnold. And, a lot of aspects of his game have really improved. I also thought that Salah, he had a really, really good game, to be fair, yesterday. He had a catalogue of chances, did Mohamed Salah, so he should have got at least 2 or 3 goals for Liverpool. Also, to Sadio Mane, he had a really, really good game. He had a lot of good chances in the game. Firmino, but he scored Liverpool's second goal. That was his first goal at Anfield this season, but he could have had more than one goal, could Roberto Firmino. And Jordan Henderson, I thought he had a pretty decent game, and he makes a difference in Liverpool's team, because Liverpool do look much better with him, because he was back into the team. Yesterday was Jordan Henderson. Don't forget, he went off injured in the first leg, did Jordan Henderson. I thought Van Dijk and Gomez did very, very well at the back. But, Liverpool didn't win the game. And, like I mentioned, they will feel hard done by. Atletico, I think they did very, very well defensively, to be fair. I thought Philippe and Savage did really, really well for them at the back. I also thought Kieran Trippier had a good game for Atletico Madrid, but they didn't really show much in terms of an attacking intent, did Atletico Madrid. I thought Liverpool, limited them to very, very little chances. They limited them to very little possession. Liverpool had, like, was it 70 odd possession to Atletico Madrid's 20 odd percent of possession or something like that. But yeah, so like I mentioned, Liverpool's first goal did come from Georginio Wijnaldum. Again, I thought he had a really, really good game for Liverpool. It was a very, very good cross from Oxlade-Chamberlain. He got the assist, and that was 1-0 to Liverpool. It was the goal from Georginio Wijnaldum. So actually, it did end 1-0 in normal time. So as you all know, the game did go to extra time. Then obviously, Roberto Firmino put Liverpool 2-0 up, and then it was looking likely, Liverpool were then going to progress to the last day of the competition. And I think after Roberto Firmino's goal, Liverpool then capitulated all of a sudden. Roberto Firmino's it was a bit fortuitous to go, really, wasn't he? Got a bit lucky with the deflection off the post, but he tapped in the rebound, did Roberto Firmino. But then they did capitulate after that. And then Atletico Madrid get back into the game. Marcos Llorente did come off the bench, by the way. He scored twice in the first half of extra time. Did Marcos Llorente. Atletico did get him last summer from Real Madrid. Was it for around 35 million, if I'm right? But it was a mistake it was a calamitous mistake by Adrian that led to Atletico Madrid's first goal. Adrian, of course, threw it out. Well, Adrian, of course, kicked it out, was it? It was a mistake, though, calamitous mistake. That's another mistake now that Adrian has made. You'll get a lot of Liverpool fans, criticising him. And a lot of Liverpool fans will say if Alisson had been in goal yesterday night, it would have been a total different game and probably Liverpool would have gone through. He made a calamitous mistake against Chelsea, didn't he? In the FA Cup, did Adrian. But he is Liverpool's second choice goalkeeper. But they had to put him in goal because Alisson is currently injured at the moment. And I think now, as Alisson missed the last 3 games for Liverpool, including yesterday's game. But yeah, so that was 2-1. Marcos Llorente scored. Joe Felix had also got an assist in the game, and the second one, to be fair, was a very, very good finish again from Marcos Llorente. So that was 2-2. And of course, the third goal did come from Alvaro Morata. So he came off the bench, did Alvaro Morata, to score. He also got an assist. Llorente also got an assist. And, there was talks that, Atletico Madrid's third goal was offside by Alvaro Morata. But, that was 3-2, to Atletico Madrid. So, yeah, Liverpool will feel really hard done by. But I thought, in parts of the game, I thought Thomas Partey looked lively for Atletico Madrid. Sona Diaz, wasn't too bad. Carrera, Koke, they weren't so bad either. But Liverpool definitely capitulated after, Roberto Firmino scored. And I really, really thought when Liverpool went 2-0 up, they was going to progress to the last day of the competition. But like I mentioned, on the preview, didn't I? I said to you that I was confident that Liverpool were going to win because, like I mentioned, Anfield is a fortress. They're still unbeaten in 50-odd games in the Premier League at Anfield. Prior to the game, they were unbeaten in 60-odd games at Anfield. But I did say, didn't I, it was going to be a very, very tough game for Liverpool because, like I mentioned, Atletico now have got all the players that they had injured back. They had Felix injured, didn't they? They had Herrera injured. They had Kieran Trippier injured. They had Manuel Sanchez injured. They had Diego Costa injured. They had Alvaro Morata injured. But now they've got all them players now back from injury of Atletico Madrid. And, the Atletico are not as good as they used to be, They haven't been the same team since, Diego Godin left. They haven't been the same team since Anton Griezmann left. But they have still got a lot of good players that can cause teams problems. And Atletico Madrid, of course, are, sitting 5th in La Liga. They're sitting 5th in La Liga. Yeah, they are sitting 5th in La Liga. But, Liverpool, from a Liverpool perspective, they'll be very, very disappointed with Liverpool because obviously, they wanted to retain the Champions League. Don't forget Liverpool are the most successful team in Champions League history. Out of the English clubs, they are the most successful in Champions League history because they've won the most out of the English clubs of Liverpool because they've won 6 Champions Leagues. But, you can basically say that the Champions League was a priority for Liverpool because Liverpool know now they're going to win the Premier League this season. Obviously, the Premier League, they know that's done with, but it's obviously, being a priority for them as the Premier League. Liverpool only need now 2 wins from their 9 remaining games to clinch their first ever Premier League title. So they are going to end their 30-year drought at Liverpool. So Liverpool, of course, will look to bounce back from this defeat against Atletico and they'll look to get a result at Everton. I think they go away at Everton on Monday night. I'm very convinced that Liverpool will win that game. Now, obviously, Liverpool did win their last league game against Bournemouth by 2-1. That was their 27th victory this season in the Premier League. They've won 27 games out of 29. The result against Bournemouth as well was their 22nd win in a row at Anfield in the Premier League. Yes, it was. And like I mentioned, they're still unbeaten in 50-odd games at Anfield in the Premier League. And I think Liverpool have registered like 82 points from 29 Premier League games. And they are sitting 25 points clear of Manchester City. So if they beat Everton and Crystal Palace, Liverpool will be champions of England. And I'm probably convinced that they'll beat Everton and Crystal Palace. And Liverpool, don't forget, have already beaten Everton twice this season. They're beating them 5-2 earlier on this season at Anfield in the league, and they're beating them 1-0 in the FA Cup. So Liverpool looking to beat Everton for the third time this season. But Liverpool have got an absolutely fantastic record against Everton. They've got a fantastic record against them. Don't forget, Everton, lost their last league game by 4-0 against Chelsea. So it wasn't a good return for Carlo Ancelotti at Stamford Bridge. I did say, didn't I, Everton do look a much better team under Ancelotti. He seems to have galvanised the team. I think that was Everton's third defeat in the Premier League under Carlo Ancelotti. But I do believe Liverpool are going to have too much for them. So Liverpool, of course, the good news is from our perspective, because I'm a Manchester United fan, Liverpool can't win the treble, which is very, very good. So they can't replicate, what my club did back in 1999. They can't even win the double. That's also very, very good. They can't do that. They can't become the Invincibles in the Premier League. That's also very, very good news. Because don't forget, the other week, Watford had ended Liverpool's 44-match unbeaten run. Watford became the first team this season to beat Liverpool in the Premier League. Yes, they did, but Liverpool are not in a good vein of form at the moment, but I can still say that I think they'll finish on 100 points this season. Well, probably they'll finish on more than 100 points this season, will Liverpool. So they'll break Manchester City's record, because City, finished on 100 points a couple of years ago and that. But yeah, definitely Liverpool are going to win the Premier League. So they'll be just delighted about that, will Liverpool. They'll be really, really delighted about that. So yeah, so Liverpool do go out of the Champions League. I think for Liverpool to continue this dominance, though, they need to make more signings in the summer. Liverpool don't just want to be, one-season wonders. They need more signings. I think Liverpool probably need to make around 3 or 4 signings in the summer transfer window. On the other hand, I do believe Liverpool are also going to get rid of players in the summer. I've already gone through the list of players who I think Liverpool are going to get rid of. I think they definitely need to get rid of Trent Alexander-Arnold. He's one player that Liverpool definitely need to get rid of. They need to get rid of him. No, not Trent Alexander-Arnold. They need to get rid of Nathaniel Klein. Sorry, that's the player they need to get rid of. They need to get rid of Nathaniel Klein to Liverpool, because he's very injury prone and he doesn't even get into the team. Still injured now is Nathaniel Klein. They need to get rid of Dejan Lovren, because he has received a lot of criticism from a lot of Liverpool fans as Dejan Lovren. So yeah, I think he needs to go. Joe Matip will be moved on in the future. I think also too, Adam Lallana is probably expected to leave on a free transfer at the end of the season. I think Liverpool will move Origi on, they'll move Shaqiri on, because they don't get enough opportunities to Shaqiri and Divock Origi. So I think they'll get rid of around 4 or 5 players in the summer, and they'll want to see around 3 or 4 incomings with Liverpool in the summer and that. But I do believe Liverpool will back Jurgen Klopp in the summer. Of course, they did sign Takuma Minamino in the January transfer window for 7.25 million from Red Bull Salzburg. But Liverpool will need more signings than that. As you all know, the players on their agenda, obviously Timo Werner, Liverpool have been relentlessly linked with him. I think he'd cost Liverpool around 50-60 million pounds, somewhere in that range, because obviously Timo Werner's got like a 50-odd million release clause, hasn't he? He's got a 50-odd million release clause. But my club, Man United, have been in for him. A few other clubs have been in for him. But I don't know if he's going to be leaving RP Leipzig. Don't forget, he recently gave an interview saying he's unsure about joining either United or Liverpool or City. He doesn't know if he's going to be remaining at RP Leipzig. But I just don't think he'd be able to get in Liverpool's team week in, week out, unless Liverpool sold either Salah, Firmino or Mane. Don't forget they've been interested in Kai Havertz. Leverkusen quoted out that they'd want at least £100 million for him. Don't forget they've been in for Mbappe before of Liverpool, so they do need to make more signings, definitely. They do need to make more signings, but, the positive is from a Liverpool perspective, they're going to win the Premier League. It's going to be their first ever Premier League, like I mentioned. It's going to be their 19th overall. So that means they'll be just one behind us because we're on 20 titles. And in terms of Premier League, so they'll be still 12 behind us because, we're on 13 Premier League titles. So Liverpool will just be happy, to get the Premier League title. And like I mentioned, Liverpool have come close on quite a few occasions. They finished on 97 points last season. They only lost it by a point last season. Of course, they came close under Brendan Rodgers' era. On looking up to winning last season, they came close under the Rafa Benitez era to winning it and that. But, they know they are going to win the Premier League. And like I mentioned, Jurgen Klopp's got a contract with Liverpool until 2024. He did extend his contract early on in the season with Liverpool, and probably he will see out his contract with Liverpool. But when he does decide to eventually leave Liverpool, Jurgen Klopp, he probably will make a return back to Germany because, maybe in the next 2, 3 years, 4 years' time, Liverpool and City may not be as good as they have been because probably Guardiola won't be at City in the next 2 or 3 years' time, especially reflecting on Manchester City's ban from the Champions League for the next 2 seasons. And maybe Jurgen Klopp won't be at Liverpool in maybe in the next 3 or 4 years or so. So you just never know, basically. But I think probably Klopp will see out his contract at Liverpool. Of course, Liverpool's best, obviously, player is Virgil van Dijk. Obviously, they paid £75 million for Virgil van Dijk, and, he is Liverpool's most expensive signing, and he's the second most expensive centre-half in the world. Don't forget, last season, there was a period where no player managed to dribble past him. Also, too, he won the PFA Player of the Year, he won the Premier League Player of the Season, reflecting on his good run of performances, and I think he's still got around 3 years left on his contract. I think they've got 2 good fullbacks, Liverpool, and Alexander-Arnold and Andrew Robertson. I think Andrew Robertson's also been very, very impressive for them. Very, very impressive for them. I think Fabinho's done quite well for Liverpool this season. He's done really, really well. I think, Henderson's had a good season, like I mentioned. Naby Keita, he sometimes plays. He's predominantly number 8 is Naby Keita, but obviously he isn't first choice, is Naby Keita. He isn't first choice. James Milner's still going strong, by the way. He came on yesterday. He's 30 odd now, isn't he? James Milner, but he's still going strong. Salah, like I mentioned, hasn't really had that clinical element this season, but he had a good game yesterday. I think actually, Sadio Mane and Firmino have been much better than Mohamed Salah this season, but overall, I don't think, they are better players. So that's from my own perception. I don't think, they are better players. But, Liverpool have had a lot of injuries this season. Like I mentioned, Milner's just recently come back for them. Gomez was out injured not too long ago. They've obviously, got Allinson out. Mane was out. Fabinho was out. Lovren was out. Matip was out. And I think they've had a few others as well. Fabinho, don't forget, he was out. Chamberlain, he was out of injury. So Liverpool have had a lot of injuries this season and that. But yeah, like I mentioned, Liverpool haven't only got a good senior squad. I think they've also got a lot of good young players that are coming through of Liverpool. They've got a lot of young players that are coming through that are good. I do rate that Nico Williams a lot. He seems very, very good for Liverpool. Obviously, they've got Harvey Elliott. They've got Harvey Elliott. They've got Curtis Jones. They've got that Larouche. Don't really have a perception on Larouche because I haven't really seen him play that much, to be quite honest with you. So, yeah, Liverpool have got quite a few good young players. But I probably do believe that the likes of Mohamed Salah, Liverpool won't get rid of him this summer, but I think in the next year or two, I think probably Liverpool will move him on. Liverpool paid 30 odd million pounds for Mohamed Salah, but they'll definitely know, even if they were to sell him in the next couple of years' time, Liverpool would get, a lot more than the 30 odd million pounds that they did pay for Salah. Firmino, they only paid around 9 or 10 million for him. I think if they were to sell Firmino in the next 4 years' time, they'd get a lot more than 9 or 10 million that they paid for him. They paid 30 odd million for Mane. When they do eventually get rid of him, if they do, I think they'll get rid more than the 30 odd million they paid for him, because I think that attacking trio will eventually leave Liverpool. They won't spend the entirety of their career with Liverpool from now. Obviously Trent Alexander-Arnold, he's been Liverpool all his career so far. He's been Liverpool player since he was the age of 7. Whether he ends his career with Liverpool or not, I do not know. They paid 3 million for Andrew Robertson. They get quadruple the 3 million pounds that they paid for him if they did decide to sell Andrew Robertson. They'd get double for Virgil van Dijk if they did consider selling Virgil van Dijk. Obviously, Liverpool paid 75 million, and I think they could get at least 150 million if they were to sell him. But there's no explanation why Virgil van Dijk, of course, would want to leave Liverpool, because let's be honest, he has been instrumental to their success, and Gomez and Van Dijk do play well alongside each other at the back, because they're Liverpool's first choice centre halves, Joe Gomez and Virgil van Dijk. They've got obviously Matip as a backup. You can say Dejan Lovren is a backup. But yeah, so if they were to sell quite a few of their key players, Liverpool, they would generate a lot of money. I think Liverpool have spent for around £460 million on recruiting new players in since Jurgen Klopp got recommended in, and now Jurgen Klopp is into his 5th season with Liverpool. He has managed, over 250 games now for Liverpool in all competitions. He has done as Jurgen Klopp. He's managed 250 odd games in all competitions. Liverpool have won 3 trophies this season. They won the Super Cup, they won the FIFA Club World Cup, and they won the Champions League at the end of last season. So when they win the Premier League this season, that will be their 4th major honour under Jurgen Klopp. And I think it'll be like Jurgen Klopp's 5th or 6th major honour in total, because that's including, the couple of titles he won during his time with Borussia Dortmund. But like I said, Jurgen Klopp's philosophy is good at Liverpool. Liverpool play expansive football. They create good chances, and it was just very, very unlucky yesterday. Sometimes it doesn't go your way. But like I've said before, Liverpool haven't been the same since they come back from that break. I thought they was very lucky to beat Norwich when they came back, and they only won 1-0. They had to come from behind to beat West Ham. They was very, very lucky in that game. They was very, very poor against Watford. They weren't brilliant. They weren't brilliant against Bournemouth last weekend. They'd only won by 2-1. It was very, very poor against Chelsea in the FA Cup. But I actually thought yesterday Liverpool played really, really well, because they did generate a lot of chances, did Liverpool. And I've got to say, John L. Black, made a lot of good saves for Atletico Madrid. And, he basically kept Atletico Madrid in the tie. He kept Atletico Madrid in that tie. There's some substitutes that came on. I don't know if I can remember all the subs. I think Milner did come on in the game, but he didn't start. Liverpool, I think, also brought Origi on. They brought Takumi Minamino on. Like I said, Atletico Madrid there brought Llorente on. Alvaro Morata came on. He actually, didn't start Alvaro Morata like did in the first leg. And Athletico also brought someone else on, but I can't remember, the other player that they did bring on. But yeah, they'll be very, very delighted with Atletico Madrid. And, Atletico Madrid will want to win the Champions League, because, that will be a priority for them. I think they did get to the final, didn't they, quite a few years ago, but they did lose to Real Madrid in the final and that. But, like I've said, I actually fancy Manchester City to win the Champions League this season. I fancy Manchester City to do it. Obviously, they had that historic win against Real Madrid the other week, beating them by 2-1 at the Bernabeu. That was the first time ever that City had beaten Real Madrid in the Champions League. Of course, the goals came from Isco. He scored first for Real Madrid, and City come back. City's goal scorers were Jesus and Kevin De Bruyne. And of course, City in that game tactically nullified Real Madrid because, they put like De Bruyne in the false number 9, Bernardo Silva in the false number 9. They put Gabriel Jesus in a different kind of role. And they did really, really well against Real Madrid, did Manchester City. So Real Madrid are on course to go out of the last 16 for the second season on the trot, because last season Madrid went out to Ajax, and City last season progressed past the last 16 because they beat Schalke 10-2 on aggregate, did Manchester City. But, City will want to win the Champions League. That is their ambition, because that's the only trophy that Manchester City have not won in their history, is the Champions League. The furthest they've progressed in the competition is the semi-finals. So City will want to win that. Guardiola will want to win it as Man City manager. Guardiola did win it, when he was Barcelona manager. So City will want to win that. So I fancy Manchester City to do it. But, there's still a lot of strong teams in the Champions League. So, yeah. And I give you an update yesterday. I give you my Lask versus Manchester United preview in the last 16 of the Europa League first leg. Can't remember the last round. But yeah, Man United are playing this evening. It is 5 to 6 kickoff in the UK. It is against Lask. Don't forget, the game is going to be played behind closed doors due to the coronavirus. Behind closed doors means there's going to be no spectators at the game. But, the game is still going to take place, which is very, very good news. And the Europa League's a priority for us, because it's another route to Champions League qualification. Plus, it's a chance of us getting some silverware on the board. And also, too, the FA Cup's a priority for us, because that's also another chance of us getting some silverware on the board. But I'm very convinced we'll beat Lask, this evening. So anyway, guys, that's everything to update you with today. Drop me comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always. I want to know your thoughts on the game yesterday. And take care, God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon.